Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous. And here's her story, and this is part 3. Hi, Ollie. Thank you for reading my previous 2 stories. The rage of the down low narc and when the narc mother breaks up with her son husband. Hearing my story read in a totally different voice was very validating. This story focuses mainly on my childhood. I should mention when I was 6, my mother and stepfather had a son who of course became the golden child. Right from when my stepfather and mother got together, he would hassle me about not getting up in the morning, even if I was 5 minutes late out of bed. When I was about 6, I wet myself at night because I could not find the flashlight. I called out to both of them, but by the time my mother got to me, it was too late. I cried, "It's too late," as my mother handed the flashlight to me. The next morning, my stepfather mockingly mimicked my words. I was furious and devastated. Real nice. You need a flashlight to even go to the bathroom. Almost every day, for as long as I lived with him, he would comment about the time I got up. I could not win. Whenever time I got up, he would make some kind of comment. This resulted in me feeling down in the morning, so I would often come out with a sour face. The whole family would refer to me as the Thundercloud. Oh, aren't those nicknames the best? Aren't the nicknames the best? You know, I was called, the puss. Oh, he's got the fucking puss on. There's the puss. The puss. Oh. Fucking cunt knuckle. My mother would accuse me of having a demon because my eyes were flashing. One morning when I was about 16, I had had enough of his constant picking, so I tried to reason with him. My mother always said that he was sensitive about getting up early because he used to have lazy cousins that used their grandma. I tried to explain to him that I was not them and that I did in fact do my fair share of jobs around the house. When he talked straight over me, I finally snapped and raged about how unreasonable his picking was. He looked at me totally tranquil and calm, and when I had finished, he mocked me and totally dismissed my feelings. Looking back, I know these are typical narc tactics, but back then, his lack of concern and empathy was devastating. On another occasion, as a teenager, I called him an old bastard in an affectionate tone, with no malice behind the words at all. He replied, "I'm not a bastard. Mom and Dad were married," in a smart aleck tone. My mother awkwardly replied, "Well, Anonymous is. My parents weren't married." I tried. I see. You're a bastard. I tried to tell him how hurt I was by that comment and explain that as children we have no control over such things. This comment hurt a lot. I had a lot of shame over having a 70-year-old father and being the fifth wheel in a blended family. Yeah, that's an interesting way to describe your family as blended. At the time, I thought I had deeply offended him and needed to explain myself. Now I realize it was a cruel blow aimed to hurt. I was a young, hormonal teenager and ignorant of narc tactics. Naturally, I absolutely lost it, shouting in frustration. My 10-year-old brother witnessed this traumatizing incident. He still wet the bed until his mid-teens and would still occasionally poo his pants until age 10. He is not mentally challenged. That is a sign of sexual abuse. I mean, leading up to that incident, he had been dry for several days. Of course, that night he wet the bed. The next morning, my mother raged at me, saying, "Your brother has been dry for days," implying that it was my fault. When some other family members organized a 21st birthday, my stepfather referred to it as a piss-up. When I got my first job teacher aiding at 17, he told me outright I did not deserve it. No, you don't deserve anything. You don't deserve anything. None of us do. Doesn't matter. You don't deserve anything. You don't deserve to be a teacher's aide. You don't deserve it. You're only there for because that's the best you can do, but you still will never deserve it. That's what the gaslighting is about. So you always feel like you never deserve anything. That's what the constant berating and gaslighting is about. That's what my parents, you know, calling it here's the puss. Same with you. It's like you don't deserve any of it. You don't deserve anything good. He absolutely loved to humiliate me in front of an audience. Exactly. They take you down like my father would would take me down in front of people. He was at his worst in front of crowds because he got off on it. He would often tell a story about me, which I do not remember happening. Same thing. He would say that when I was about 6, I saw his shirtless body and said, "You've only got little nipples, but mom's got big tits." And my mother was always good for the public stories. My mother always went with the sexual stuff. Always. My father's public stories with his family were always mocking me in some way how stupid I am and what an idiot I am, and how everybody laughing at me. And it's all designed to make you think you don't deserve anything good. Makes you believe it. When they tell you you don't deserve that job, makes you believe it. I honestly do not remember knowing the word tits at that age. Yeah, because they embellish everything. They blow everything up. He would constantly accuse me of having crushes on boys and enjoy my shame and embarrassment. At age 6, I remember my mother raging at me when I was getting ready for school because I was trying to choose pretty clothes. I think I wanted to wear a dress that was not suitable for the weather, so she yelled, "You're not going to a fashion show, you're going to school." From that day forward, I never really attempted much in the way of dressing nicely, and still do not to this day. I do not know if she made this comment out of frustration or it was just calculated and deliberate. Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of things going on in your family. Your mother, you got a jealous mother trying to sabotage you. You got all this other gaslighting, sabotage. Ugh. She never apologized for the comment. And stop worrying about getting an apology from the narcissist. They're meaningless. They're meaningless. Knowing what you know about your mother now and her true nature, what meaning would an apology even have from these people? From any of them. They're soulless, they're heartless, they lie about it. None of it's going to be real, so stop seeking apologies. They're worthless. Worthless. It might be frustrating for parents when children are taking time in the morning, but I do think such a comment is a cruel blow to a young girl's femininity. I know I would never say that to my daughter, and that's something jealous mothers do to their daughters. They take away their femininity because they're in competition. They're jealous of them. When I became a teenager, I wanted to keep my body private, which I think is pretty normal for developing girls. My mother would say that I was going through little self-conscious stage when we would go swimming in the sea and I would want to find a private place to get changed. My mother would tell me that they all have had children and seen it all before. You know what? I'm saying, everybody's saying, no, leave me alone. Like, let me change in private. Although she never actually walked in on me, those words hurt. She once said, "What makes your body so special?" Right. Your body's not special. You don't deserve anything. You understand the constant breaking you down, that you're valueless and you're nothing? What makes your body so special? I wonder why your brother was pissed in the bed. I wonder. As a teenager and young adult, I was always careful to cover my body. No cleavage, midriff, or short skirts. Although I did make a few attempts to dress attractively, it was always very conservative. Most of the time, I hid my body under baggy clothes. I think due to the sexual abuse, I was petrified of attracting excessive attention. Although looking back, I was moderately attractive, my stepfather always implied that women deserved wolf whistling if they dressed a certain way. My mother called me a prude for carefully choosing clothes that covered my body. One time my mother said that I would make a good nun. I also remember her saying, I was not a prude like you, referring to her younger self. Oh yeah, no shit, since my father was 70. Really? I mean, you're really letting me in on something there, Mom, right? I was not a prude like you. Wow. 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 Alert the media. Let me alert the media. Looking back at this objectively, it was very contradictory because my mother had become a Christian and always lectured me about being careful about relationships. I should mention the culture of the small community we lived in is extremely promiscuous. I truly wanted to wait until I was married and establish an intact family, so I wanted nothing to do with their promiscuity. I should mention that from the age 6 to 11 and then 13 to 18, we lived in a small isolated community, and our house was an hour away from the main town. From age 11 to 13, I stayed with my maternal grandmother in a larger city for schooling. She was very emotionally needy, and I felt very smothered. I should also mention that one time when I was washing the dishes, she hugged me around the waist. It felt very icky because it seemed like something a partner would do. Yeah. Like, look, we always know what inappropriate touching is. You know when there's something there. Listen, there's a difference between like hugging a friend and me hugging Charlene. There's things like in your hands and fingers, and you can feel it. Like, what? It's just a hug. No, 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 no. Like we're stupid. That's gaslighting. Gaslighting you. You can't say anything because it's just a hug. You're sick. What's going through your mind? I felt what you did with your hands or your finger. I felt it. I can feel your energy. Another time she touched me on the backside and in front of another adult. When I reacted, she told me not to be stupid. I mean, you can ask Charlene this, but she's passed. She's still in bed. You cannot grab my ass. I have a radar. I know when it's coming, and that's from my mother because my mother was this grab at you, grab at your genitals, grab all. You can't really hit me because I'm so in tune to be able to block. I see motion before it happens. And when my back is turned, my sensors are always up. I know when it's coming. You could ask her, it's impossible. My hands are, it, it's something it's not even that I can't explain. I can absolutely know where it comes from. And it's not stupid. It's not. It's real. Another time when we were at the hairdresser, who she was friends with, she told her what age I got my period. I naturally was mortified, but I did not say anything because I remember my mother telling others when I first got it. I truly thought I was too sensitive. It's nobody's business. It's nobody's business. She would also expect me to be open with her and tell her everything. When I was exhausted from school, she would expect me to come home all bubbly and tell her about my day. To her credit, she did push me hard, and I learned a lot academically that year. When I was 13, I went back to my mother and stepfather. In spite of all the abuse, I did miss my mother because in some aspects she was very encouraging and we had a strong bond. At age 18, I went to live with my maternal uncle and grandmother for Polytech. I was absolutely petrified of men. When I did learn an English teaching, when I did an English teaching course for volunteers, a guy from the course got my phone number off the list and called me. We arranged to meet in a public place in the middle of the day. Looking back, he was probably a fairly respectful guy, especially since he respected a no to the second date. To be honest, I thought of myself as so unattractive that I was shocked any guy would pay me attention. Although on the inside I had feelings of any normal woman, I would generally keep men at distance to protect myself. Looking back, these repressed feelings was what the narc tapped into during my love bombing stage. And you do realize that's because all the gaslighting you endured, that you don't deserve anything. You don't deserve a job. You don't deserve a decent partner. All of it. All of it. I had been so traumatized that it took me until my mid-20s to pluck up the courage to really try dating. Then I ran into the narc. Thank you for reading this story. I hope it helps someone. Yeah, it's a good one because you're going back to a point where the root of why you're broken, of what your issue is, that you don't deserve anything. You didn't deserve anything. And it's all because of the narcissist gaslighting. It puts you in the mentality that I am not worthy of anything. Not a stupid job, not any success, not privacy to my own body, not a decent relationship, even the thought that I deserve to even have a relationship. That's what the narcissist gaslighting does. And if everybody can get to that point where they realized it happened, then you can move forward. Because every time it happens, you can work back to that point and say, all right, this guy, no, I do deserve this. Boom. And that's how this works. That's how this recovery works. It's never like this, oh, here's the light. It's all gone. It's all behind us. No, we're learning tactics so we can pull out every day when we get those monkeys jumping on our back. So thank you again, Anonymous, for another story and contribution. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype chat, phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just send a contribution and sponsor the channel in general for equipment, see it grow, keep the lights on, the rent paid, because this channel is sponsored and it is funded 100% by contributions from you. I live and survive. This channel will be a succeed or fail by you guys, so I appreciate everything. So you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. And if you're still unclear, wait for the instructional video link to pop up on the screen at the end of this video to walk you through all of that. And if you're not seeing it, make sure your pop-up blocker is not on. Please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.